Hey everybody, how's it going? We're here with a timeless reading. Welcome. All right, first card that we have out is the Devil. I'm also seeing Four of Wands on the bottom of the deck. The Devil can be connected with like fear. It can be connected with cycles that we feel like we can't get out of. It can be connected with things that we feel like trapped within. It can be something that we get involved in that we feel like we then become dependent on in some way. The way that it works with the Devil is that we feel like something is missing within ourselves. And so there's this like seeking of something else to sort of be like that missing piece. So rather than like looking for it internally, we tend to look for it externally. It looks like something is going on where this may have been something that you dealt with in the past. This could be something that like now is coming up for you. To have strength next to this, so we have Capricorn and we have Leo here. To have strength next to this feels like Devil can also be something tempting you to enter into a cycle like that. This is about recognizing that that's not, it may temporarily sort of like give me what I'm looking for, but on a like grand scale, it's not really going to like satisfy that thing that I'm looking for in order for myself to feel like complete in some way. So it's something that would be like maybe a temporary fix, but then the problem would sort of be repeating because we feel like we're not addressing what's actually at the basis of this and what's meant to be addressed. I also see the Devil sometimes as being like treating a symptom rather than treating the actual thing. And so the problem sort of persists and continues, but we keep like slapping some type of band-aid onto it because again, we think like in a way the answer is going to be something outside of myself. Like that's what I've been taught, that's what I've seen like that other person do, or that's what's been modeled for me, or what I read. You know, it can be like all of these things around us that influence us in a way where we may believe that this is going to be the answer in some way. But having strength here feels like you know the difference. Strength is also connected with us learning how to work with our own energy and be the master of ourselves rather than something else being the master of us. So that's what I see with the combination of the Devil and strength here. So again, like you may have something tempting coming into the environment, like you're missing this piece and I'm the missing piece, don't you need me? And then having strength here is being able to look at that and be like, that's not the real answer. It may be an answer temporarily, but it's not something that's going to be on a deeper level. I'm seeing Knight of Wands, so this could be something where like impulsively, if you don't spend time actually reflecting and thinking about it, you could just go in that direction, but then you're going to get sucked into something. Having strength here again feels like you already know this. This isn't like I haven't learned that lesson yet. This would be having strength here is like, I know what this is about and I know that I could get pulled back into this. However, and it's not going to be easy, but this is something where like I don't have to fall trap to that. This can be so many different things. It can be like literally anything that you can apply to the situation. It can be with relationships. It can be with like anything that you consume. It can be media that you consume. It can be information that you consume. It can be food. It can be substances. So many different things that this can be. This can also be about it can be about like work and overworking and feeling like that's going to be the answer. So many different things that it can be. It can be tangible, it can be non-tangible, but all of it is going to be felt regardless of what this is for you. Yeah, having Seven of Swords here feels like there can be a part of you. Okay, there can be influence around you that you're connecting with. This can also be I don't know. It feels like there's a really strong energy around you that could potentially pull you in. However, having strength here shows you being strong enough to not fall into this. And this is all about exercising willpower. So if you're in this situation and you're like, I'm not strong enough to do it, I'm just like, I'm more willing to sort of bend into this and lean into this and see where it goes, then that's what's going to happen. Having strength here shows that if this is not something that you want to get caught up in, you're not going to get caught up in this. But it's all about actually like what you're willing to do at the end of the day and what you're willing not to do at the end of the day. Having strength here is like a very important like emblem or symbol that nothing else has any type of power or control over you. Like, you are always the deciding factor. And ultimately, it's about working with yourself. It's not even about like needing to work with those things outside of yourself. It's about just working with yourself with this. And again, like, this can be any type of cycle that you feel like that's not healthy for me, or I feel like not my best self when I'm involved in that, or like I know that I can do better than this, whatever it may be. Yes, this is definitely something from the past. I'm seeing Six of Cups, and I'm also seeing, I wonder what this, well, I guess it can be different for everybody. So having Six of Cups and having Justice here, this is about like, it's either about making something right, or it can be about correcting something, it can be about editing something. It's one of those times where something is coming back up that you may have struggled with in the past in some way. Struggled with this thing, struggled with this person, struggled with this theme in some type of way. And there's this notion of potentially falling back into some old pattern, but this is also something that you feel like you've gotten out of this or gotten away from that, or like broken out of that cycle. Having Six of Cups is like, this was something that you dealt with in the past in some way, or you were around this in some way. Know that this can also be like somebody that you've seen experience this. So this can be your energy. This can also be the energy of somebody around you as well, and you may be watching this happen. I'm hearing recognizing signs. Having Justice here, it can allude to this being connected with relationships, but it can really be your relationship to anything. It also speaks about contracts and breaking contracts, like spiritual contracts, karmic contracts, things of that nature. And it's also about, Justice is also about like moderation, because it's connected with Libra, it's connected with harmony, and it's connected with balance. So it's like mental balance, emotional balance, and this seems like something is getting kicked up from the past. So again, like, this is something that you've like faced before, something that you've dealt with before, and it seems like now you really have tools to be able to move through this in a way that feels like it's very aligned with your values. But that may have not been the case in the past. Like, in the past, this could have been something that like you really got sucked into. And now you could be at this point where you're like, oh, like, I have a choice. I don't actually have to do that again. This can be on my terms, or this can be how I want it to be. I don't feel like I need to fall back into that thing, whatever it was, or whatever it is. So also too, you can feel like rather than this being a thing as it was in the past, this can be your moment to really rewrite things, because it's coming up again for you to face it again in some way, and for you to do it in a way that you feel good about. And you could be in the process of figuring out like how to actually do that here. Especially for where you are now with things. I'm seeing King of Pentacles coming out. King of Pentacles can have to do with our responsibilities, the roles that we play, what we feel like holds value for us, the expectations that we have of ourselves, the expectations that we perceive like others having of us. This can also have to do with like not falling into a role that you don't want to be stuck playing, like something that you feel like isn't actually aligned. Also too, having Devil and King of Pentacles can be like putting value on the wrong things. I'm also seeing Taurus here. We have a lot of earth energy. And we also have Libra and Leo. This right here is like where you are, the expectations that you have of yourself, and also for like the roles that you do play, it's how you feel like you should be playing those. Like to have the Hierophant shows you in some type of position where there's like, it can be like a prestigious position that you play. And know that this can really be anything. Like you may feel that like being a parent is a prestigious position. It's something where you can feel like you have people that look up to you, and really like surprisingly, it doesn't matter what role you play, you can have like, you're always going to be impacting other people regardless of whether this is like publicly regarded or not. This is you being in a position where you feel like you're doing things the way that you're supposed to be doing things. And when I say supposed to, I mean really just the standard that you set for yourself based off of your beliefs of yourself and how you're meant to be living your life. And this can also have to do with, like, I see King of Pentacles as being more associated with, like, our MC. That's, like, the higher part of our birth chart. So that's more so, like, public image. So it means, like, how we're seen when we go out in the world and, like, the roles that we play or the roles that we play in the lives of other people, like, those types of things. And having the Hierophant here, this is about sort of sticking to your beliefs as far as like your morality and stuff like that. Or like your philosophies on life and what you've developed and sticking to those things, especially because I'm seeing strength be connected with the Hierophant. Sometimes the Hierophant can be like old ways that we feel trapped within, where it feels like maybe needing to loosen our grip to grow a bit. This feels more like there's a system that you've developed that's important for you to stick with it, and you have something tempting coming up within the environment that you leaning on these beliefs is going to be important to this process for yourself. Because whatever position this is that you're currently playing, you feel like there's a right way to do this and potentially like a less right way to do this. So having strength above the Hierophant, it's standing within your beliefs. Especially with how you believe you're meant to be carrying things out. Because you have something coming through that would potentially be taking you away from that. Having Hierophant be connected with Seven of Swords, and then you might feel like, I'm not doing this the way that I think I should be doing this. That would be like the potential sort of pulling you away. I do feel like this is connected with trying to like drag you back into something. Like you could feel energetically there may be a pull to like go in an old direction where you're like, I know that that's like not the best way for me to be going. But there can be some like anxiety, there can be some tension that you're feeling about this. This can also be about commitments too, where you're like, I've made certain commitments and I want to stand by those things. Those things are important to me. There can again be like having both Libra here and also Taurus. With Justice and the Hierophant, this can very much be about contracts that we make, like promises that we make to ourselves, to other people, things like that. Assessing connection of some sort. I'm seeing Judgment and I'm seeing Two of Cups. So you can be looking into something and be like, how do I keep things in a way where there's a sense of like togetherness, where there's a sense of union, where I'm, rather than creating separation, I'm creating like merging, or even like keeping something the way that it's meant to be. This is also about using your better judgment too, because with Seven of Swords and with Judgment, this is about like really needing to see through any types of lies that you may be being told or that you may be telling yourself within this. It's also to like looking at this situation and being like, how am I also like perceiving what's going on, and how am I framing this, and how am I thinking about this? Anytime we have the Seven of Swords come up, it's always about like honest self-reflection. Because Seven of Swords can be us doing something that we feel like is not aligned with how we perceive the light to be, or it can be somebody around you that you're having like gut feelings about and needing to, again, like trust yourself and be honest with yourself about what you're feeling. So this can be something or someone around you, and it's also going to be about the direction that you're feeling pulled in currently, and needing to actually look at this rather than brush it under the rug. For some of you, this has to do with having Six of Cups and having Two of Cups. This can be like a connection from the past, or it can be some type of pattern from the past. It can be something that feels familiar. I'm also hearing for some of you, it can be familial, like family, or something of the sort. Could potentially be something going on with like contact communication, because I'm seeing Knight of Cups here, and I'm also seeing Ten of Wands as well. So there can be something about wanting to keep something like appropriate, wanting to keep something balanced, but also there can be something that's difficult about the communication for some reason, or expressing. Knight of Cups is someone communicating in a way that's generally seen as being like genuine, being heartfelt, but also having this can be there being a difficulty for some reason. So it can be like, I want to get this off my chest, or I want to say this, but it's feeling stressful, or like I'm trying to do this in a way that feels like it's balanced and feels like it's aligned with my values and what I believe is right. And it's hard for some reason, it's difficult for some reason to do that. So it can be like, when I'm expressing myself, I want to make sure that I'm doing it in a way that I believe is like the right way to do that. But for some reason, it's challenging. For some reason, it's difficult, because this is here. So that means that there's like a temptation to not do things in that way for some reason. And also to like having King of Pentacles be connected with Justice here. You know that there's like a right way to do this. When I say right and wrong, it's like based solely off of your values and your standards, like you particularly. So this is super subjective to just like you and how you're perceiving yourself. There's not some type of like objective standard. This is subjectively like how you feel like it's right for you to be carrying yourself and taking action, especially based off of your commitments, principles, and responsibilities. Of how you feel like it's appropriate to move forward with things. I'm seeing something be very tempting within the environment that's making it difficult for you to sort of stay aligned with this for some reason. And it has to do with something that's coming up now that's associated with your past, or like some type of nostalgic vibe. For some of you, this is about like a person coming up from the past. It's not like that for everybody, but for some of you, I'm seeing specifically has to do with like a relationship or a connection. But it doesn't only have to be a person. It can be like something coming up that you had some type of emotional connection to in the past, whether this be a person, a place, a thing, whatever it is. A fantasy even, having the cups here, like something that you wanted, something that you wished for, can be like tied in with all of those things. Having Strength and having the Hierophant is really about reflecting on your values, especially from like a philosophical perspective, like your principles and stuff like that, and then breaking this down in the middle to have Seven of Swords and to have Judgment here is about looking at a situation and being like, I can do something here that I don't feel like would be in alignment, or I can go in a way that I feel like is the right way to move through this. And so it's really that balance that I'm seeing happening here. So ultimately what you decide to do, because I'm not seeing anything about an outcome, like I don't know which way you're going to go with this. Are you going to lean into the temptation and move that way? Are you going to lean into like your morality and your values and go that way with this? Like, we don't really know what's going to happen here, because like right in the middle is assessing like which way do I sort of want to move with this. But now that everything's out on the table, which it feels like recognizing all of this in the first place was the biggest and most important thing to do here, so you know that you do have a choice, and that whatever choice you make is what you're willing to happen and what's being manifested through you, through your intention here. Simple enough, right? So I'm seeing Taurus, I'm seeing Capricorn, I'm seeing Leo, and I'm also seeing Libra here, and I'm seeing Pluto. And Pluto deals with themes of like transformation, of rebirth, of changing old patterns and habits by like surrendering to the new ways. It's also about not doing things anymore, or like outgrowing things and developing into like more evolved versions of ourselves, like themes like that. So you can feel like you're being challenged in that way. Like, is this something where I'm going to fall back into some type of old pattern, or is this me doing the more difficult thing and forging a new pathway that I feel like is more aligned with how I'm evolving within my life? And that's that. All right, guys, we're going to leave the reading here. I would like to thank everyone for connecting. Thank you for tuning in. I'm sending everybody love, and I hope to catch you guys next time.